Up this morning, if you're like me, allowances are tricky. Do you even give kids an allowance? How much? Should they be required to work for it? Well, our next guest is going to help you teach your kids how to manage money. She wrote this book. It's called the No-Cash Allowance, and it promises to put the power of money to work with your kids.
Lynne Finch is the book's author, and she says it works because she used this approach with her own children. And you've seen now, how old are your children?
My children are grown up and have their own children. So
And do they have very healthy and wonderful bank accounts?
they have very good money habits. Yes,
Yay.
They're doing extremely well. And when they got married, their husband said, "Hey, these girls know how to manage money."
Nice.
So the girls are in charge.
I bet you feel good about that.
I really do, and it's really exciting to see my grandkids now learning the same concepts. So this works with kids all the time.
All different ages. And we're going to break down how it works in just a second. But first, I wanted to ask you, why do you think allowances are so tricky for parents?
For a couple of reasons. We think kids need money, but we don't want them to make mistakes. So we tend to, as parents, guide them more than they need. My idea is that kids should have money just like sand in a sandbox. Let them play with it, let them figure out what works and what doesn't work, and give them control. It gives them the ability to make decisions on their own, and a kid can't do anything bad with money. An 18-year-old can, but a 10-year-old, a $10 mistake is a huge learning lesson for a young child.
Yeah.
So allowance is really an educational tool, and if parents think of it that way and give them the parts they need, money, ownership, and responsibility, they will gravitate to that and they will understand it and they will be in charge.
So will a 10-year-old think that dropping $10 on a bunch of candy is really a bad choice? Because I would think they'd be like, sure, Mom says it's bad, but I thought it was great.
They might rethink it. When my younger daughter got her first checking account, the first thing she did is went to the store and wrote a check for candy. She was in 7th grade. She thought she was just amazing. No other kid could do that. But it was her money. We never told the kids what to do with their money. It was their choice. They could buy a toy, and sometimes they did, and then they say, well, why'd you let me buy that? Well, it's your money.
Yep.
You make the decision.
So how does the no-cash allowance work?
Okay, the no-cash allowance started because long ago, when I was a young mom, I didn't have enough cash to pay my kids. I managed money with checks and credit cards. So I started with cash. It teaches them to count, math skills, great stuff. Piggy bank is fun to put money in. But I started writing their allowance as a number, like direct deposit. So now they had to deal with a number instead of a handful of cash. If they want to spend, they have to subtract. The number gets smaller. Kids like big numbers.
Right.
So that decision, it slows them down. If they have cash in hand, boy, do they want to go to the store.
Yeah, it burns a hole in their pocket.
They can't stand cash in hand. But money as a number, they have to manage differently. And as grown-ups, we manage money as a number.
So, two things. One, I've got some friends who are in their 30s and to this day still do not keep a register book. They don't know how to track their dollars. They don't track their dollars. They just every once in a while, pull it up online and see if they're negative or positive, And I think so this gets to your point of truly being able to account for what you have. But are you saying that there is no cash, that these are fake numbers, or there was money behind these numbers?
There is money behind the numbers. What we did is we set up an account. Initially, Mom and Dad are the banker. Eventually, they had their own checking accounts. So when they got their allowance, it's written in as a number. If they spend, it's subtracted as a number. So it's like direct deposit. We would go shopping, and the kids would buy something, and I would pay for it with my credit card. We'd go home, they'd subtract it. It was debit card spending. This was in the 1980s. And they understood that the money was a number. And we required them to record every transaction, all money in, all money out. And that's where these 30-somethings are having that problem. They don't see that it's one pot of money.
Now, this is a problem, I think, for parents. How do you decide how much?
Well, it's really arbitrary.
Because summer's coming up, and a lot of times my kids are like, can I have this to go buy a coffee, or this to go to lunch or something? And what I was thinking I was going to do is give them at the beginning of the week, say $20, and this is all you have for the week, however you want to spend it. But if I'm going to use your principle, how does it work? Because I think parents also have a hard time figuring out how much, and I'm sure you're going to say it depends on their age.
It does depend on their age. Obviously, a preschooler doesn't get as much as a 15-year-old. You kind of can base it on age, maybe $1 per year. So a 3-year-old might get $3 a week. And a 3-year-old is going to spend it all on fun and games. It's all about me when you're 3. By the time they're in school, they can start paying for some of their own school supplies. So at that point, you are transferring money you would spend on them to their control for them to manage for expenses that are relevant to them. By the time my girls were in high school, they were buying all their clothes, paying for all their school expenses, all their entertainment, their phone expenses, and their extracurricular activities. It was a lot of money, and they had to manage it for all these things, and they did.
So by then, you're giving them quite a bit more money.
Quite a bit of money. And again, it's money you would spend on your child anyway, so you're not spending any additional money. You're letting them manage it. And they have to decide, well, if I buy this and it costs too much, then I'm going to have to cut back over here. Or if I don't go to the movie this week, I can go to the concert next week. So they're making their own choices about how to use their money. And that's the big lesson.
I think it's great, and a lot of people can get your book and find out more about what you do in the No Cash Allowance by going to your website. It's the NoCashAllowance.com. Right now you've got free shipping through June 7th for an autographed book as well for $9.95. So head on out to the website. That's how you can learn more about it, and also the age-appropriate activities to do with money that go along with the No Cash Allowance.
Yeah, and a point that $9.95 is the same as if you were to get it on Kindle or Nook, right?
Right.
Put it on your...
It's a special reduced price now. The normal price is $16.95, so rush out there and get it for $9.95. I like it in the paper version because I like to refer back to it. People do read it on Nook and Kindle, but it's a guidebook, and it has age-appropriate activities for 3-year-olds up through high school graduation.
I think it's great, Lynn.
I think so too. Nice to
Appreciate
have you
it.
on the show. Great job.
Thank you so much.
Appreciate it.